Hello everyone and welcome back to Healthy Core and Yoga Flow. We have arrived to day 17, which is very exciting. We're going to do chair pose today in our peak pose at the yoga section, and trying my very best to keep this to like a 30-minute practice, because I know that's what most of all of us have time with these days when we are on YouTube for yoga. So thank you for that, and let's take a comfortable seat, centering, and then we'll start with 5 different exercises for our healthy core that will tie really well into chair pose Utkatasana today. Okay, let's take a nice comfortable seat. Sit nice and tall on the sit bones, and you might even take those thighs and bring the inner thighs a little bit more wide back and apart so that we're sitting nice and even onto our seat. And for just enhancement for a nice clear spine, where we will pull energy into the center and then purify it, turning and churning and extending organically out in each and every pose. And by doing that, shedding stagnant energy and raising our vibrations. So let's take the hands to the heart from there. Join our voices in one Om. Take a nice big inhale. And exhale, open your eyes, and let's come to all fours, and we will take our cat-cow to wake up the spine and wake up the layers of the outer inner layers of the body. Tuck the toes under, shoulders and wrists are stacked. Bring the spine up towards the sky and expand the back body. Pull that lower belly all the way in, and exhale and arch the spine. Inhale, exhale. Take that spine all the way up by pulling lower belly all the way in and up. And again, exhaling out, inhaling, exhaling. Working with the breath so it works for you. Moving about, and then gently bringing it back down. And 2 more times, arch the spine up towards the sky. And bring it back to neutral. And 1 more time, bringing it all the way up. Exhaling all the stagnant energy, stale air out. Purifying the layers by arching the spine and gently coming back to neutral spine. And from here, come all the way on to your back, please. And lower all the way down. From here, we're going to start by taking another 5 kind of cat-cow, but it's going to be down into the mat. So take the hands to the sides. You can put them right next to you. I'll put mine out just so you can see my lower back. So we're going to arch the spine up and then pull, vacuum suck the lower belly all the way in, and then hold it here. And kind of just check so that we're not clenching the glutes or using hamstrings. We are just using the lower belly, middle belly, pulling in and up, closing the gap between floating ribs and top of the hips. Not necessarily closing the gap, but just open the connections for upper lower body. 1 more breath right here. So we'll just keep breathing, have a normal conversation, and then exhale, bring it back down. And again, exhaling, bringing the lower belly all the way in, releasing the glutes and all parts except those deeper core muscles, layers, lifting stagnant energy and raising vibrations. And then exhale, release. So we do 3 more. Bring the lower belly all the way in, holding it for a few breaths here. We'll just continue breathing normally and just holding that lower belly all the way in. Hips are nicely stacked next to each other. And then exhale, bring it back down. 2 more times. Lower back in towards the floor. Using the deeper core muscles, nice and strong, holding it, and exhale, release. And one more time. Lower back, vacuum sucks in towards the yoga mat or the floor or the rug that you're on. The glutes are relaxed. And we're hanging out right here. Few more breaths, moving the breath, holding the lower belly all the way in, and then gently bring it all the way back down. Nice. And taking the knees into the chest, holding into the right knee and extending the left. And switching sides, holding your left leg, extending your right. And we'll pick it up a little bit and maybe even lifting the lower, lifting the shoulder blades off of the floor and leaving the lower back onto the floor. And we'll just keep switching knee to chest here, hugging the knees in towards the chest for 15 more. And 14. You can also do this, of course, with the chest, the shoulder blades on towards the floor. We don't have to lift anything up. Having that lower back on towards the floor for 10 more. And 9. And 8. Vacuum sucking the lower belly in. There should be no discomfort anywhere. 6 more. And 5 more. And 4 more. And 3 more. And 2 more. And last one. And then bringing both knees in towards the chest. Take a little pause, elongate the spine. Stretch the spine. And then from here, knees in, and then extend them out. The lower back stays on towards the floor. Knees in, and extend it back out. Kind of just like a chair pose. Tuck. Bring it out. Bring it back in. We can stay here for 5. We can stay here for the entire 20. You could from here lift. You can always take your hands underneath your hips, always. Or you could also take your hands behind the head and prepare to lift the head up for the last 10 of these. Lower back should stay in towards the mat the whole time. Lift your shoulder blades off and come and meet your elbows with your knees for 8 more and 7 more. Keeping that lower back in. 6 more. And 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. And 1 more. Take it out and bring it all the way in. Knees to chest. Nice. And then we're going to roll it up. Come to our forearms. And do a little bicycle onto the forearms and doing our best to keep that upper and lower body connected, vacuum sucking the lower belly in. So right leg in and switching to left for 20 and 19 and 18, 17, 16, should be a nice massage in towards the belly. A nice purification. 13 more. And 12. 11. 10 more. And 9 more. 8 more. 7. 6. And 5 more. Vacuum suck that belly in. 4. 3. And 2 and 1 more. Bring it all the way in. Nice. Take a little pause, put the feet on the floor, let there be a little bit of a flow in the core, and we can lay down on our backs or we can hold onto the mat, put the hands underneath. We're going to bring the legs, knees back in, legs up, and extend back up, same as we did on our back. You can lay down onto the back again. We have 20 of these. 19, 18, 17, there's a nice little tug in, 16, 15, 14, and 13, 11, and 10. Should be a nice purifying feeling for the abdominal region. 7 more, and 6, and 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Nice. Take it back down onto your back. Last one, reverse abdominal curl. Take a little pause. I hope you're feeling something. I sure do. Hands to the sides or hands underneath the sacrum. So see what works the best for you. Lower back in towards your mat, extend your legs and reverse curl up and extend it out. Reverse curl, 18 more, bringing it in and extending out and not letting our legs go further down. Then we can keep that lower back on towards the floor. 15 more, and 14, and 13, keeping it going, 10 more, we are almost there, and then it's going to feel really good to work our way into chair pose, and our body's going to be very ready. 6 more, and 5 more, and 4 more, 3 more, and 2 more, and last 1. Bring it in. Take happy baby, please. Hands outside the feet, knees by the shoulders. Elongate the spine, let the sacrum come down towards the floor and give yourself a nice little rock back and forth. Breathing, softening, and then bringing your knees in, rolling up and taking downward facing dog, please. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pedaling in toward the back of the legs, moving, breathing, press the hands, lift the upper arm bones. And gently from there, come with your feet over to the hands. Inhale, long spine. And exhale, fold. Press the feet, inhale, sweep the arms up towards the sky. And hands all the way down to the side. Release the hands, inhale, sweep it all the way up. Exhale, hinge and fold, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, long spine, and exhale, step back to plank pose, please. Give yourself a little pause in plank pose. And then we're going to pull back to down dog, hug the inner edges of the feet towards the midline. Come back to plank pose, hugging the midline, and exhale, pull back to down dog, and back to plank, and down dog. Downward facing dog, staying right here. Taking your right foot to between the hands. High crescent lunge. Sweep the arms forward and up. Bend your left knee, take your left wrist, and give yourself a little crescent. Stretch over towards the right side. So left hip flexor is getting a nice big elongation. And then gently bring it back up. Extend the arms and exhale. Release hands to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Step your left foot between the hands. Take your crescent lunge. Sweep the arms forward and up. High lunge and bend your back knee. Take your right wrist and pull it over towards the left side and get a nice big opening in towards that right hip flexor, quad, and exhale, release. Bring it all the way back. And fold back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lift your upper arm bones. Come up onto the toes, bend the knees, look between the hands. Step over towards your hands. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold. Press the feet. Inhale, hands to hips, elbows to sky. Bend your knees, come up to standing. Release the hands. Breathing in towards the feet. Opening the pathways for the legs. And then from here, we're going to open up into feet wide apart pose. And from here, we're gonna lift all the 10 toes and plug all the 4 corners of the feet down. Pull the inner edges of the feet towards the midline, skin to muscle, muscle to bone. Inhale, extend the arms all the way out and take the hands towards the hips. Hinge and fold to 90 degrees and keep pulling the inner edges of the feet towards the midline and really squeeze the midline here all the way in, taking your fingers towards the floor. And inhale, long spine, and exhale, cat version, and inhale, long spine, and we keep on holding that midline. Exhale and inhale one more time, and exhale, bringing it all the way back out, and place your hands all the way on towards the floor. Take your right hand to your left ankle and take a nice twist, pulling the inner edges of the feet towards the midline, opening all the layers, clearing any stagnation, and switching to the second side. Left hand around the right shin ankle, sweeping the right arm up towards the sky. And exhale, release hands to the floor. From here, we might have the feet right where they are, or you might move them a little bit closer together. We're going to take that right hand to that left shin and the left hand to the right shin. And then we're going to cross the arms, open the shoulders, and pull the shins in. Widen the thighs and find more space for all the layers of the hips and for the legs. Shins in, thighs out for more enhancement, more lifting off anything that's holding us back in our hips. And then switch to the second side by just gonna flying our arms a little bit, taking the right to the left and the left to the right, but taking and switching so you have crossed your arms opposite direction. Pull your shins in with your arms, with your hands. Some nice traction. And exhale, release. Fly your arms out, take your hands to the floor and bring your feet a little bit wider together. Inhale, long spine, and exhale, fold. Hands to hips, elbows to sky. Come all the way up to standing. Nice. From here, you can have your feet hip width apart, and there doesn't need to be a block, but if you have a block handy by or a book or something that is as wide as a block, or your hips, then bring that in, like a nice thick novel. Or take your yoga block if you have one, squeeze it with the inner upper thighs, second toe forward, hips right in the line of the hips. Feet and hips are aligned from your hips through the knees, through the ankles, out the second toe. Take your fingers towards the floor. You can still have your feet just slightly bent, and then take your arms up and take them all the way up towards the sky. So we just have slightly bent in the knees. Not even a chair pose yet. We're just squeezing the block. We're plugging the femurs back. We're pulling the lower belly all the way in. And then from here, blasting everything into the midline and coming up onto our tippy toes. Lifting that lower belly all the way in, squeezing the block. And lifting the heels back down, bringing them back up. Heels up and down, and taking it back down one more time. Inhale. Bring it all the way up and take it all the way back down. Hands to hips. We'll keep the block. Keep the block. Come to the front of your mat unless you were already there. And then from here, take your arms all the way up. Interlace your fingers. Bend your knees slightly. Arch your spine and bring it back up. And arch your spine. Squeeze your block. Bring it back up. Or Simply bend your knees and squeeze the skin to muscle, muscle to bone. Inhale and then exhale. Hinge and fold. Keep the block. Hands to the floor. Nice and steady into your feet and into your hands. From here, take like small steps or a hop over to down dog. We're just gonna make our way to down dog with our block. Here we are, squeeze the block nice and strong. Make your way over to your plank pose. Squeeze the block back to down dog. And bring it all the way back over to plank pose. Squeeze the block. Bring it back down. And one more time into plank pose. And coming back to downward facing dog. Lift, looking up between the hands and come up on the toes, bend the knees. Take a walk or hop with your block over to your hands. Inhale, long spine. And exhale, fold. Hands to hips, elbows to sky. Come all the way up to standing and take your block to the side and away. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale, release, hinge and fold. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, step to plank pose. Come all the way down to the belly. Widen in towards the hands. Click all the 10 toes down. Take our first cobra. Lift the shoulders back. Take the chest forward. And exhale, bring it all the way back down. Hands by the shoulders. Push back. Child's pose. Big toes together. Knees apart. Press the palms. Lift the upper arm bones. Plug the femurs in. And gently make your way back up to all fours and to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Step your right foot between the hands for warrior one. Back foot is flat on the floor. Sweep the arms forward and up. Bicep towards the ears. Pull your right hip back, left hip forward. Lifting it up nice and strong. And exhale, release. Hands to the floor. Step it back, down dog. Step your left foot in between the hands. Right foot flat. Sweep the arms forward and up. Warrior one. Pull your left hip back, your right hip forward. Gaze up. Breathing, full warrior one. And exhale, release. Hands to the floor. Step it back. Downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Come up onto the toes. Bend the knees. Look between the hands. Come to your hands. Inhale. Long spine. Exhale, fold. Press the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. And exhale. Hands to the heart. And release all the way back down to the sides. From here, we're going to come all the way down to the floor. We're going to sit into our Virasana pose. We were here just the other day when we sit either on a block or between the knees or between our heels. We sit down with the hips aligned straight over towards the knees. We might sit on a pillow, we might sit on our block, we might sit on a book, blanket, anything that you might have. So let's take our palms up towards the sky and interlace and take your index finger up like for a nice full powerful Vira Mudra, sitting into our Virasana pose. And then exhale, release, hands down to the sides. You can come back if that's for you. Lift your hips, come onto your forearms. You can come all the way down, whatever works for you today. Just getting a nice flush on the quads. We'll stay here for a few breaths, moving, grooving energy, upper, lower body, tailbone down right in the center of the knees, clicking all the 10 toes down and having like a good time purifying the quads, and then gently make your way back up and come to downward facing dog, flushing some energy through the knees, some nice fresh blood purified after our seat in our Virasana pose. Down dog. Come to tiger dog by coming up onto the knees. Bend up towards the toes and bend your knees and take your hands around the yoga mat. Push the mat towards the front, bend so that you have your quads and your ribs have a meeting, and then full extension from the hips to the shoulders, through the wrists. Come up high on the toes, look between the hands and get into a nice upper back stretch, upper back opening, upper back just digging into the space between the shoulder blades. And then exhale, sending the heels down, hands by the mat, right in alignment with your shoulders for down dog. Come to the toes, bend the knees, look between the hands, come forward. Inhale, long spine, exhale, fold. Hands to the sides, inhale, come all the way up to mountain pose, Tadasana, hands to the side. From here, we're gonna come back into our chair pose with a little bit more bend in the knees if it's for us. So bring your big toes together if it's available and have a little opening for the heels. If that doesn't work, have your feet hip width apart. That works well too. So let's come to the front of your mat and come into Tadasana pose with the big toes touching. And then from here, we're gonna touch the fingers towards the floor and take our arms up towards the horizon and maybe even kind of up towards the diagonal. And then from here, pull that lower belly in. We're gonna come up onto the ball of the foot. All the way up, kind of checking in with our midline. Take the hands behind you, heels to the floor, interlace and fold. First, little pause in between our Utkatasana chair pose, and then release the hands to the sacrum, release the hands to the floor, take it back up, bend your knees in a nice comfortable way, toed into the belly, protect the lower back, interlace your hands again and lift all the way up onto your ball of the foot. Bring the lower belly in, that's our like super power core hugging in to all parts. And then exhale from there, heels back down, hands behind, find your different clasp back here and hinge and fold. Uttanasana with a clasp with opening in towards the shoulders, top of the head towards the floor, and exhale, release hands to the sacrum, hands to the floor, bend into your knees, perhaps a little bit further down this time. Take your arms forward, hands can be hip width apart. You can take your palms together, interlace, and then squeeze the arms, and then we'll do a couple of cat-cows right here in our chair pose, and just freeing up the spine, freeing up the hips. Lift the lower belly all the way in and up, secure and stabilize in towards the spine. And then from here we are in Utkatasana, fierce pose. Either fingers together or hands apart and gaze up. See what works the best for you. Squeeze everything in, tone into the belly, get some nice memories in towards the quads, and really embody that fierceness, blasting the energies into the midline and purifying all the layers. Any stagnation is raising off, and then press into the feet, come all the way up, and hands down to the sides. Nice. Shake it out a little bit, and then we're gonna come into it again. Take the arms all the way up towards the sky, palms together, and from here, bend down into chair pose, Utkatasana. Take your left elbow to your right knee, palms together. Make sure that your knees are stacked next to each other, which means the hips have to be stacked, which means that we're not leaning into one side more than the other. Pull the lower belly in, expand the back body, lift the heart, the chest, the lungs, and twist from there. Like a nice Utkatasana twist. Exhale, release the gaze. Hands to the floor, inhale, arms back up for Utkatasana. And take your right elbow to your left knee. Knees are stacked right next to each other. We don't let any knee kind of leap ahead of the other. Press the palms together, arch the spine, Vacuum suck the lower belly, stabilize. Take your hands to your heart. Take the gaze over the left shoulder. Breathing, softening. And exhale, release, gaze down, and take it all the way back down. One more, Utkatasana, sitting nice and deep, and pressing the feet to come all the way up to standing, hands down to the sides. Excellent. Bring your feet together at the front of the mat, and inhale, arms up to the sky, and exhale, hinge and fold, forward fold. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, down dog. Letting some blood flow through the hips, through the quads, through the hip flexors, lower back. Breathing, taking 3 nice deep breaths here. And coming up onto the toes and bending the knees down and coming into child's pose. Knees wide, big toes together, sweep the arms forward and take a nice child's pose rest, and closing up our Utkatasana chair pose practice. And slowly making your way up, and let's flip on over to our back side, coming all the way onto the back and hugging the knees into the chest for like a relaxed version of child's pose, like a relaxed, very relaxed version of a chair pose variant of just bringing the knees all the way in. Extending the spine, and then we'll stretch your right leg up towards the sky, hands around the hamstrings, left leg comes out onto your mat, lower back is still having a good secure place to move from, so that it can just have this nice free clear space to vibrate in new energies for us. Walk the hands up to your ankle and find upper lower body together, head towards knee, breathing, and gently release it back down. Bring the knee in towards the chest, switch sides, take your left knee in and extend your left leg up to the sky, letting some blood flow through the back of the legs, through the front, through the knees. There was a lot of squeezing in chair pose. Make your hands come up towards your ankles or keep them down by your hamstrings. Roll yourself up using your abdominals, head towards knee, extending out through the mounds of the big toes. And exhale, bringing it all the way back down, bending your knee in and extending the legs out. Hook your thumbs, feet together, extending fully from your feet to your fingers, fingers to feet, like a nice big pulsation, exchange of energy. Exhale, hands to the sides, and you can stay right here and flip your feet out to the side, palms up, and stay here for Shavasana, or you are welcome to come and sit with me for our closing, crossing. We're actually going to sit onto our knees and kind of just hugging it back in a little bit. Yeah, nice. Take your hands to the knees with your palms, right palm in the left palm, thumbs are touching each other for a nice restful position for the palms and the shoulders. We'll take a few moments to just let the energy circle through all parts of the body, whether you're laying down on your back or if you're sitting up. Kind of letting all that extra power we exerted in the chair pose sequence find all its layers where it can reside in our body, in our energy layers. We might still be exchanging stagnant energy with nice new fresh energy for us as we're just sitting here. gently bringing the hands together in front of the heart, joining our voices in one Om to close our practice together this day. Let's take a nice big inhale. Thank you so much for joining me for day 17 in this yoga challenge journey, or however we would like to use these classes. There's going to be 30 of them. It's a series. You're welcome to join any of them or all of them, whatever you like. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video for Bakasana, crow pose. Yay, exciting. Okay, let's warm up those hands for tomorrow. Thank you. Namaste.